Coming up next, I am going to introduce you to 3 what I consider under the radar fragrances that are so special, so good, and I think deserve a lot more hype or a lot more people talking about them. Find out what they are coming up next. Welcome back, everybody, to Joel the Nose. As you can see, back here at Osme Perfumery on a beautiful day, and always excited to be here, meeting, talking to people, going over our passion here of perfume. And today's video was actually inspired by me just kind of sitting here and smelling different things and talking. And it's really 3 perfumes that have come out. Actually, all 3 of these are relatively new releases in the last year or so. And I just think they deserve more hype. You know, certain fragrances get a lot of hype, some justifiably. You know, like God of Fire, I think justifiably, huge hype beast, but I think it's worth it. But these necessarily don't. So I'm going to get right into this. First one, and this is from 8 & Bob, came out in the last year, and that is Agnetta. First of all, I love what they've done with the bottles. This is an extrait or parfum. So they've upped the concentration and they put it into these just really unique bottles compared to the typical 8 & Bob fragrance. And this one is just, to me, this is just like a beautiful, great, I would classify it myself as an oriental fragrance. Ambery, it's sweet, it's got just this like real sensuality about it. It's got some spiciness from cardamom, some nutmeg. It's got a touch of oud in there, but not overwhelming. So for those of you, again, I always say this, that are not necessarily oud fans, this would be a great one to introduce your nose to. It's also got some coffee that gives it this like kind of freshness, almost like it's like alertness to it. I don't know, it's hard to describe. And then again, yeah, it's got some woody notes, amber at the base. So just really good. I think one of the better releases from 8 & Bob, one of my favorites from the house, actually. And it just came out in the last year, so check it out if you haven't yet. Next, and this is from Stefan Humbert Lucas, and it's 2022 generation. So this is a fragrance, again, you know, God of Fire, one of the other fragrances that came out is super hyped, but this one to me is the sleeper from this house. Really, again, came out last year, 2022, and just, it's one of those that, you know, maybe when you smell it on the scent strip, it doesn't necessarily stand out to you, but I would say about a month ago, I was in here talking to Maurice and Babaca, and, you know, he's like, hey, put this on your skin. I put it on my skin, and it was like instant love. The whole rest of the day, I kept smelling it. It lasted. It was just one spray, and I could smell it over everything else that was on my arm. And just really, really beautiful, well-constructed, well-composed fragrance. When you look at the note breakdown, it's not overly complex as far as a lot of stuff, but it has black currant, lemon. I'm sorry, not lemon, but yuzu. Look at the bottle so you can see a little bit better. It's got some mint. It's got agarwood, which is the wood that oud resin comes from. And it's a little spicy. It's got some balsam, Peru balsam. And it's lists, I think, oud twice in there, both at the heart note and the middle, in the base note. So, but again, this is not a oud bomb. In fact, you can barely really, you know, detect it as far as that. It's not that stinky animalic oud. This is just a very kind of almost creamy, delicious, again, really interesting fragrance. That black currant and that yuzu at the opening is not a combination, especially with mint. I don't think I've ever seen a combination quite like that. Black currant, yuzu, and mint. So there you go. Check out that one if you haven't checked it out yet. Oh,
hey, what's going on?
What's up? And we got Maurice in here to, I think, introduce something.
Photobomb.
A photobomb. Well, this would be an actual real photobomb.
Okay. So this is a new one from Nasamato. The name of this one is called Saturnaso. We just got it in last week. Interesting. This is only for those who are very experimental. So the one thing with Nasamato that we've all come to expect is the unexpected.
Yeah.
This at first glance gives you, something a little bit vanillic, something surrounding the notes of amber. But there's a dark side to this perfume. I'm not going to say what that dark side is.
But you're going to tease the people with this fragrance? You're going to...
Well, let's just put it this way. We have a special edition cap. So this cap is just your typical Nasamato cap. The cap for the people that are more, what's the word I'm looking for?
More open-minded, maybe?
Exactly. So it's called the Phallic Edition. This is the box.
Phallic edition, so you can imagine what the cap looks like. It looks like the tip of something, right?
Tip of a big black...
BBC?
Yeah, so very interesting, very...
You guys can Google it, right?
Yeah,
and see the picture?
The cap is as interesting as the fragrance is.
Can you imagine that sitting? Would be a talking piece to have that fragrance sitting on your dresser or wherever you keep your fragrances in your, right there, kind of tucked away with everything else. All of a sudden you see this.
That would be something.
To some people, they may think it's a dildo sitting there.
I'm sure they would.
Yeah.
Not to be used.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, got something else. So these are, I like this,
so
mixing up this video here.
So in the store, this one is called Biblioteca, and I think it means library. So this perfume is supposed to smell like old books. So in the store, we kind of have these little glass things where you can actually get the idea of what the perfume kind of smells like from.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So especially when the perfume has a little bit of time to dry down, then you can actually smell everything a little bit more clear. So this is from a brand called Fuegia, and what makes them special is they grow the ingredients that they use in all of their perfumes.
That's unique.
From start to finish.
And they're from Argentina, right?
Argentina. I think Patagonia to be exact.
Okay. So I imagine they have unbelievable access to farms and agriculture and just, the most amazing ingredients.
Yeah.
That when you told me about that, I first smelled this brand, maybe a few weeks ago when you got it in, and there's just some real stunners there.
Oh yeah. So if you like perfumes that lean towards a more gritty, natural, very well blended, but not typical. So some of the scents that you find from them, as much as I love my perfumes of Marley, or I love my Initios, or my Liquide Imaginaire, this has a different take on perfumes. And that's what makes this whole journey so interesting. Different artists or different brand owners have a different way to show you something, So,
and I think that's, think about that. There's not that many Argentine niche houses. You have Versailles, Natalia, who is the owner and creative, director of Versailles. She's from Argentina, but this is the only other one that I'm aware of. I'm sure there are others, but
and they're something special.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys brought this one in because, again, I'd never really had much experience with it. One of the other ones that stands out for me, just real quick, is I think it's Agua Magnolia. Yeah, that one.
The perfect Magnolia perfume.
Oh, for those of you who haven't smelled Magnolia, it's not a note that you see a lot anymore. It was, I think, more popular in the past. I'm glad that they brought something like this out because it is magical.
Yeah, it's special.
I came in here last week with a friend of mine who was visiting from New York, and she'd never been to a niche perfume store, and we were showing her stuff, and she saw that and instantly bought it. It was like, no, that's for me.
Hey, so you guys have to, come on in, check it out, see what we have, and you might run into the superstar right here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So then that leads me to my last fragrance. Let me just clip my microphone back in. The last one I want to talk about today as far as my under the radar is Sakura. Sakura from Ormond Jane. Again, this is one, came out in the last, I don't know, I think it was in the last year. This came out in the last year, right? Sakura, it's relatively new?
Yeah, well, more or less than that.
Yeah, very,
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah, so this is relatively new still. This is like a perfect summertime fragrance. So, man, right now in Miami it's so hot. That's why I'm wearing shorts today, because I swear, I want to be in a tank top and shorts, although some of you might literally explode if you see me in a tank top again from how like crazy some people got. But this is that perfect summer fragrance. It's got this opening, and look at that cool like pink ombre bottle. It's got this opening that's very fresh, zesty lime and bergamot with some pink pepper. It's got some mandarin orange in there, so it's got some spicy citrus notes, coriander, but really sets us apart for me is there's a cherry blossom note, and you get it right from the beginning. It has this interesting, but it's not, I wouldn't call it a gourmandish cherry. It's not too cloying or oversweet at all. This is just very zesty, fresh, perfect summertime fragrance. I put it on, I actually have it on my skin right now. When I got in the store here today, I had forgotten about it, and I looked at it because the bottle really stands out, and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta talk about this one. So there you go. Those are 3 of my favorite under the radar fragrances that I think deserve more hype because they're great fragrances and very wearable, but very unique. And then obviously you saw the new one that Maurice talked about, which is completely unique. And go Google it. You guys can see the pictures and you know, I don't know, go for it. All right, I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you guys for watching. Peace, love, and perfume.